Hi, I'm Dr. Gurunath Badiger, Associate Professor of English, Government Pacific College, Nora. Today, in this video, I want to discuss a play, A Doll's House. A Doll's House is a play written by a Norwegian playwright, Henrik Ibsen. Henrik Ibsen is one of the most important playwrights of Europe in 19th century. However, his influence was very much felt in the 20th century prose drama. Let me discuss something about a brief career of Henrik Ibsen. Henrik Ibsen was from Norway and he was born in 1828. However, he had experienced poverty, suffered a lot in the early part of his life. He became very popular with his prose drama in Europe. And Henrik Ibsen is called the pioneer of problem plays, which became very much popular in 20th century. In fact, 20th century English drama was very much influenced by Henrik Ibsen. When we talk about G.B. Shaw, A.W. Pinaro, John Galsworthy, they were all influenced by the prose drama of Henrik Ibsen. In fact, his major plays, A Doll's House, Ghosts, An Enemy of the People, Hedda Gabler, and Master Builder, brought him great name and fame. Henrik Ibsen died in 1906, but left behind a great legacy of problem plays, and he has taught how to write the best plays in prose. Let me discuss something about A Doll's House. A Doll's House was translated later into English. Some people translate it as A Doll's House, or some people translate it as A Doll House. Anyway, this is the play which brought him a great success. It's a three-act play dealing with the story of Nora and Hammer. This play brought him not only name, but also brought him some kind of controversy, both in theater and beyond. The play realistically deals with the treatment of married women as a doll in the family. The play talks about man and woman relationship and the institution of marriage, and particularly in the story of Nora and Torvald Helmer, who are the major characters in the play. The characters in the play are Nora Helmer, wife of Torvald, mother of three, and she is living out as an ideal wife. Another character is Torvald Helmer. He is Nora's husband, a newly promoted bank manager. He professes to be enamored of his wife, but their marriage tickles her. Dr. Rank is another character in the play, a minor character. He's a physician, a rich family friend. He is terminally ill, suffering from tuberculosis of spine. Christian Linde is another character. She is the best friend of Nora, school friend. Presently widowed, she is seeking employment. She was in relationship with Krogstad prior to play setting. Niels Krogstad is a negative role here. Is an employee at Torvald's bank, a single father. He is pushed to desperation, and he is said to be a supposed scoundrel, is revealed to be a long lost lover of Christine too. And the other characters are the children, Anne Mary, Nora's nanny, Helen, the maid, Porter. These are some of the characters in the play. And let us discuss the plot of A Doll's House. The play is divided into 3 acts. And in these 3 acts, in the first act, we see all the major characters are introduced in the first act. The conflict begins in the first act itself. That's what we remember, G.B. Shaw's words, no conflict, no drama. There is a conflict and there is a resolution also. So in the first act of the play, we come to know Nora, Torvald Helmer, Krogstad, Dr. Rank, all are introduced in the first act itself. The play begins with Nora's entry on the stage, and she comes to home and she's carrying so many bags, and the porter also carry so many bags, and he keeps them there, and she is singing a song. It's a Christmas occasion, it's a winter season. So Nora is seen very, very happy. In the meanwhile, we hear Hammer from the study. Towel speaks about his wife. She is a spendthrift. She spends so much money lavishly. She calls her a little songbird. He calls her my little squirrel. These are some of the things that are very, very important here to know, that Torvald considers her as a songbird, as a squirrel, not as a participant or a decision maker. That is seen in the beginning itself. He rebukes her for being spendthrift. Of course, Nora is a woman of celebration, as usual, and she says it's time to celebrate. And moreover, she's so happy that her husband is promoted and she should celebrate it. And in the meanwhile, Christian Linde, who is the best friend of Nora, comes, and Nora is so happy because she is meeting Linde after a long, long time. They discuss so many things. In the discussion, we come to know that Christian is in difficult times now. She has lost her husband, she has lost her mother, and her brothers are not with her now. And she has come down to meet Nora and ask for help. She wanted a job, and she speaks to Nora to speak to her husband in finding a job. And Nora says, yeah, she assures us, she promises. And in the meanwhile, they discuss a lot about their past. Nora also speaks about how Torvald was ill and how she went to Italy, how she borrowed a money from an admirer. So how she went through trials and tribulations in her life. But in fact, Nora borrowed money from by forging the signature of her father, which she has not revealed in the beginning. She has not even told her husband about how the money came. She told him that her father gave her money. So it is during this time Niels Krogstad, a subordinate employee of Torvald, comes to Nora's house and meets Torvald. Nora is not happy to see him. She knows why she is not happy to see him. And Dr. Rank informs Nora that Torvald is not a good man. He is morally deceased. After meeting with Torvald, Krogstad comes to meet Nora and he reveals her the ongoing issues between Torvald and Krogstad. The problem is that Torvald wants to remove Krogstad from the bank, for he has forged the signatures of other people. So Torvald is very much angry with Krogstad and he wants to remove him from the bank. And he is angry and he wanted to inform Nora that he should be saved. He wants to retain his job at the bank. He asked Nora to convince her husband not to remove him. And he also blackmails her that if he removes him, he would in turn reveal her secret of borrowing from the bank. Nora is shocked now because she had already borrowed money by forging the signature of her father. She had to forge the signature of her father to borrow money to save her husband, because in that country, women were not allowed to take loan in society, and it required a male as a signatory. There was no choice but to forge the signature of her father. But she has been secretly paying back the money. So she is caught between Krogstad and Torvald. Torvald is angry with Krogstad regarding the signature, and now Krogstad knows the secret forgery. Nora's Christmas celebration is turned into nightmare because of the arrival of Krogstad. Now she fears the future consequences. She requests Krogstad not to reveal the truth. But Krogstad says she should convince her husband not to remove him. After Krogstad's exit, Nora begs her husband not to remove Krogstad from the job. But Torvald is unaware of what's going on between Nora and Krogstad, and he said he is not ready to listen to her. He says Krogstad is a fraud and he is a hypocrite. He should be punished. Nora is in fix now. The crisis started for Nora. And when Torvald returns from bank, Nora once again tries to convince her husband to retain Krogstad. But we come to know that Torvald has already suspended Krogstad from the bank. Nora tells him that don't suspend him, he will damage your reputation. But Torvald is not ready. In the meanwhile, Dr. Rank comes and speaks about the last stage of his disease. He also tells her he was secretly in love with Nora, which Nora denies lightly. And these are the problems that a woman had to face. On the one hand, there is a problem of Torvald, Krogstad, bank, forgery. On the other hand, Dr. Rank, who comes and talks about personal relationship. And moreover, she is not at all in love with him. She has been loving her husband so much, and she had to deal with variety of situations, harassments. Krogstad enters the house for the second time and informs Nora that he is angry with her husband. Now, he does not care for Nora's remaining balance of loan. He wants to preserve the bond and blackmail both Nora and Torvald. By blackmailing, he wanted to get back his lost position and even want to get promotion. Nora is in crisis now. She expresses her inability to convince her husband, but Krogstad refuses to listen to her. Krogstad has already written a letter with details of her crime, particularly how Nora forged the signature of her father and borrowed money from the bank. And he had already placed it in the mailbox, which is locked now. For Nora, it is now a difficult time how to save her marriage, how to save her family. She is shocked by the incident of Krogstad letter. She even sends Christine to Krogstad to convince him to withdraw the letter. And on the other hand, she tries to avoid Torvald from seeing the letter. She did so many tricks, a helpless woman. She tried to postpone the revelation by not allowing Torvald to see the letters in the mailbox. She begs her husband to help her rehearsing the dance for costume party. Although she is not in a good mood, she tries to present herself. All the awkwardness is, of course, revealed in her face. She dances badly and acts childishly, suffers a lot because she's undergoing a traumatic situation. And obviously, she is not in a mood, but somehow she's buying time. Torvald should not see the letter. Nora even contemplates on killing herself to save her husband from humiliation. She thought her husband was loving her so much, and she has done a wrong thing. She wanted to commit suicide. She loves him so much, and she also thinks that Torvald loves her so much. But the story is different. So, in the final act, we come to know Nora has to take a decision. Nora has no other choice but to face the inevitable during this time. She thinks her husband loves her so much and sacrifices his personal reputation for the sake of his wife. But things go in a wrong way. In the meanwhile, Christian Linde speaks to Krogstad and convinces him not to trouble her friend Nora. Linde also offers him to marry her. Krogstad is happy and wants to withdraw the letter. But Christian does not immediately inform Nora. She wanted Torvald to know the situation, understand truly the relationship, and there should not be any secret between Nora and Torvald. This delay has revealed the true nature of Torvald. The situation changes back in Hammer's home, and Torvald obtains the letter and reads. He's very angry with Nora for ruining his reputation by committing a crime. Torvald is more worried about his career than about his relationship with Nora. He never thinks about how his wife has undergone a traumatic situation. Instead of supporting her, he calls Nora a dishonest and immoral woman. She is unfit to raise his children. This hurt the sentiments of Nora. She is very much shocked the way her husband behaves. He says marriage is a failure. And it is all because Torvald is thinking more about his own career, reputation, image in the society. And he thinks that he is under the control of Krogstad now and lose his reputation. And never gives a thought about the psychological crisis in his wife's mind. Poor Nora is very much hurt by the way her husband thinks. She thought that he would sacrifice his personal reputation for the love of his wife and children. But Torvald is altogether a different kind of a man. She informs him that she did it to save his life, yet he calls it foolish. Nora's dream of her love for husband and family is shattered. It was during this time of heated discussion between Nora and Torvald. A maidservant brings a letter from Krogstad, who has accepted to withdraw the blackmail letter. On reading this letter, Torvald changes his attitude towards Nora. He's so happy that he is saved. And when he assures himself that he is saved, he wanted to retain Nora. He comes back to Nora and says that he has forgiven her. Nora is shocked by the double standard of her husband and finds no meaning in the marriage which is dominated by husbands. She had beliefs about her husband. She thought that husband is something that would protect everything. But in turn, all these dreams, beliefs were broken. There is neither love nor help nor any concern in his behavior. Torvald appears to be opportunist, a hypocrite. That's why she informs him that she is leaving the house and his children, for whom she had suffered a lot. Torvald now requests, cries, shouts not to leave, but Nora is resolute. She slams the door behind and goes out. And this is a very important breakaway or a step that created a lot of critical discussion in Europe, slamming the door behind. The play ends with Nora's exit from home, which is a doll's house. She wants to identify herself as an independent being. She wants to know her worth. She goes out, leaving all that she loved behind. Hence, this play is called a very, very progressive play with a revolutionary end for a woman. Although Henrik Ibsen said it is not a feministic play, it speaks considerably about the position of women, the condition of man and woman relationship, how man and woman relationship is on the basis of compromises we make. However, it also deals with sacrificial role of women in the society, how they sacrifice everything, their personal feelings, emotions, careers were sacrificed for the sake of husband and children. But what respect do they receive from the others is a very important thing here. Nora loved him. Nora sacrificed all her personal pleasures. She did lot of hard work to save the money and pay back. But what she gets in turn from Torvald is the matter. A failure of marriage. What is marriage? Shakespeare calls marriage is true love is a marriage of true minds. So are they true minds? Is there a real love? Or is there a compromise or selfishness? So the play also deals with the treatment of women in the society, how women are considered as second citizen, how women is considered more as a doll, more as a squirrel, more as a darling bird, more as, a person. Nora says, I am not independent, even in my father's home. Father considers me as a doll. Husband considers me as a doll. I have never been a decision maker. Have you ever considered me as a mature person, a human being? These are the questions. The play also deals with hypocratic society, particularly man's law dominating the women, categorizes how Torvald changes his mind when he receives a letter from Krogstad. So these are some of the important aspects of Doll's House. We will come back with another video on characterization in Doll's House in the next uh, video. Thank you very much for patient listening and feedback on gkvocal@gmail.com. Thank you very much.